Hello, Betty Croswick here. Well, a lot has happened since I posted last Monday, and I am reminded of the words of the prophet who said that the moving finger having writ moves on, and not all of your tears can change a line of it. And I think that's a very profound saying. So we have to wonder, have the players of the past week, will they be maybe shedding tears in the future for their part in the truckers' blockades or on either side? If there will be tears shed. Well, I really don't think there are going to be any tears shed on Trudeau's part because he seems so sure of what he is doing. He's very confident that what he is doing is the right thing. And so the act that of emergency that now is, he says, is what will be guiding the futures of Canada. A lot of things about this act really disturbs me, but because I have a tendency to kind of look up economics of things, where money goes, who has it, who doesn't have it, that I'm very disturbed, really, really disturbed for the future of Canada by his freezing bank accounts of Canadian citizens. He really, really shouldn't be doing this because I can't see how this can be anything but lots of trouble in the future for Canadians if things remain as they are. Because so many factors are involved in freezing citizens' accounts that it would take a half hour to describe all the different financial repercussions that can happen when a government freezes citizens' accounts. Does it make any difference what act it is under? It doesn't make any difference for the explanations why this should be done. The world will go to hell in an explosion if this isn't done. It has to be done. It must be done. But freezing Canadian citizens' check accounts and the extension of the way this Emergency Act reads, that it will also pertain to non-citizens. And it also includes this freezing of accounts will involve insurance companies. It will involve other citizens' welfare acts that have to do with their money that comes from the government, and there are lots of those. And it will involve everything connected with the economics of Canada. And foreign countries don't like this either, other countries. When they see any country, any nation evoking an act that will freeze banking accounts, then that's a real warning signal that's going to bode nothing but ill for everybody connected with it. Now, it's totally ruined economically the people connected with the blockades. And even people who supported the blockades are having their accounts frozen too. And their insurance is canceled. All sorts of dreadful things. They're even having their dogs threatened with execution if somehow they can't pick them up from the dog pound in a certain amount of time. And so it's a very bad situation when foreign countries, democratic countries, look at this. They say, well, I don't know, that's not going very well over there in Canada. Maybe we shouldn't invest in this. Private investors and other government investors, they think, well, it looks like they're not only taking a sledgehammer to democracy, but Trudeau is also declaring in his statements that it's not even a autocracy. No, no, no. It's a dictatorship, is what it is, from his remarks and from Christine Freeland's remarks. We are in for a dictatorship. So why is Trudeau, in looking at the consequences of evoking this emergency act, what it's going to do to Canada's economy is drastic, because it may very well crush the Canadian economy. But in looking at Trudeau and his confidence and his assurance and his so dreadfully arrogant that this is the way it's going to go because he says so, makes me wonder if inside his pretty head, if that means he knows something we don't know about what is coming down the pike, kind of internationally. Now, I've been worried for a long time about the way the banks operate, that they went from being bailed out of their overprinting and risky deals that they make with other risky dealers, that I've been worried about. They got bailouts the last time, but there was a furor about it, and so many people didn't like it. And it has this, when people get leery about the banks, this has a tendency to result in kind of lack of distrust in the government that is in power. So this time, the banking system and distrust of the banks. This time, the banks talked for a while about bail-ins, where they could just take some part of people's money that was in the bank in their savings or in other accounts. Just take some of it and give them in return slips of paper that says they have a interest in the bank. Now, people don't like that kind of thing. They think this may be a very terrible trade-off. And so this further made them nervous about the banks. But the thing that has made them the most nervous, as have I been made the most nervous about this, is the great talk of the Great Reset that Charles Schwab did at the International Forum in Davos several years ago, where he said there would be a real switch in the economic system, and it would be called the Great Reset. and it would mean that people would own nothing, but they would be happy. And that made people think, even the dumbest among us start to think, well, if people are not going to have anything, if we are to own nothing, who's going to own it all? Well, these economic elites are going to own it all. And who are the economic elites? Well, they're the central banking systems. I'll name a few. There's a European central bank. This is a great banking system. you know, it, it, uh, it just trades with the other banking elites. And then there is the International Monetary Fund, which also just they trade and come together over different worries about how the banking is going, and they give money to each other and cheer each other on. And then there's a Bank of International Settlements. And this bank, everything that's settled in the other banks eventually go to the International Bank of Settlements. And so there's a permanent record of whatever bank has been doing. And the Bank of Canada really has been into the Great Reset, I believe. It's my opinion, because they don't have any gold. All these other banks have gold. Trudeau, Justin's father, Pierre, let all the gold go to hell when he was prime minister, and the ones that followed him continued to sell off all the gold. What was the purpose of selling off all the gold from the Bank of Canada? Well, nobody knows, but except that it made other banks richer. And then they look more kindly on Canada, because Canada's people were very placid, and they are such nice people. Canadians are so nice, and they don't ordinarily raise a fuss about too much of anything, and they just let things go, because they think it's better to be nice. You just have to be nice to be Canadian. And they just let it all go. Well, now we're in a position where Charles Schwab is telling us what it's going to be like. And my opinion is that because they have the economic central banks and the politicians, the elites, have the economy of Canada and the United States in such a mess, there is no way they're going to get out of it. We have no way out except bankruptcy. So in order to avoid bankruptcy, the Great Reset is being brought forth as a savior of this mess that these economic and political elites have brought upon us. And now they're going to get the rest. They're all going to get it all, okay? And Canadians, just American citizens, the Western world, the people will have nothing but serfdom. Serfdom is right there. It's right there. So Trudeau is very cocky. He knows his back is covered by the international banking system and the elites, and that he can bring out all kinds of social measures that comes from the United States and that make people feel confused and helpless. I mean, if boys are not sure they're boys and girls are not sure they're girls, what can they possibly be sure of? They're not sure that their mother is their mother and not a birthing person. Well, what happens to the word mother and father? It gets washed out of the vocabulary of the world. And that's what the Schwabs of the world want. They want people to be so disoriented, so confused. They will accept anything that's brought forward that will feed them, allow them to have a certain amount of little liberties that don't disturb the international system in any way. That's why we've got looking at us straight in the face, and we have just let it happen. We've let it happen. Justin Trudeau is a tin-pot dictator, and he is a traitor to Canada. He has no heart for Canada. He's a globalist. He's with the economic and political elites of the world, not grubby little Canada, whose people are, not very bright. So I don't know what will be the outcome of this, but if people don't come to the conclusion that we are being sold down the river for peanuts, then that the wealth of Canada will be in the hands of international banking cabal, then we're lost. We're lost. But, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Canadians actually have more sense than that. I really do. I think they have more sense than to try to fall into the mindset, oh, well, we would like to be elite too. We would like to have, 2 houses or 3 houses and one on the beach. And we like to pretend we could live this kind of life. We don't need that kind of life. Nobody does. And to be taught that we should have contempt for the working class because they don't know anything. As somebody in my own family said, they're just truck drivers, Well, my response was quick and hasty, I guess. But nevertheless, we have to get over this. We have to get over it. We're all truck drivers. We are all working class because they hold the keys and they can turn them any way they want to turn them. Until we get back these keys, we're all working class, okay? More next time. Thank you. Bye.